Such
I've got to wrap it up. I've got to say, listen,
little man.
I think we actually had a very
little man.
This debate was supposed to be on Palestine, but quickly descended into savage personal attacks, and that shows why that never ends well for Douglas Murray's opponents. Today's victim was Senk Uyghur, who got very insulting, but would pay the price.
3, 2, 1!
Every country that takes in the Palestinians gets terror. It happened in Egypt, it happened in Jordan, it happened in Syria, it happened in Lebanon, it happened in Tunisia, on and on. That's why these people don't really care about their fellow Muslims. They just care about hating Jews.
All right, Cenk, your response.
Yeah, so you asked if he cared about 8,000 dead babies, and his answer was no. Queen Rania bothers me, so complete non-answer, because he doesn't care. He doesn't think the Palestinians' lives are worth anything. He just called them all terrorists.
Well, it's nice you can put that
and this is what they always do.
There you go.
So hold on, I let you talk for a long time, so why don't you shut up for a second? So we've got all of these dead babies. We've got all of these dead babies that this monster doesn't care about. He says keep bombing them. Let me explain. So war, this guy talks about, oh, I love war. I go to all the conflict zones. So by watching it and rooting on for more death, I know something about conflict. You know nothing.
And for that, he decides it's time to verbally assassinate his opponent.
Douglas, respond to that.
First of all, I mean, your other guest, I mean, I don't know what kind of a creature he is. He's a kind of low-grade thug, as far as I can see. He's listened to nothing I've said.
Yeah, I know, because I'm Muslim. That's what you call all Muslims.
I'll tell you. No, it's not that at all. It's not that at all. I just think that you're just a very low-rent racist. But anyway, let me just get on to it. You say, first of all, I don't care about the death of Palestinian children. Yes, I do care. I care very deeply about it. But I also know that the responsibility for their deaths lies on Hamas, which has misgoverned their society for the last 16 years, and now has been leading the country into being in a war with Israel. So yes, it's on Hamas this. As for seeing wars, by the way, I just mentioned about seeing wars because as far as I can see, you're very ill-travelled as well as rather ill-lettered and ill-spoken. And I mention that I cover wars and go to wars because I happen to think myself that it's worth seeing things with your own eyes, including things that you don't particularly like, but you report the truth. I don't know if you ever even leave your own bedroom. And I can tell already that you don't because you've already said something that demonstrates you know nothing about this conflict. You have just demonstrated it in the following terms. You said that this is why we need to push for a two-state solution and give legitimacy to the Palestinian Authority. I'll tell you something you don't know because I guess you spent no time in the West Bank, have you? I'll tell you something you probably don't know. The Palestinian Authority, Fatah, celebrated the 7th of October massacres. I'll give you another fact which demonstrates you know nothing about this and clearly haven't ever visited any Palestinians in the West Bank as I have. If there was an election tomorrow in the West Bank, the reason why there isn't one is because if there was an election tomorrow in the West Bank, Hamas would win. So your idea of a two-state solution, I'm afraid you are so out of date and you really should leave your bedroom. Because in this region, nobody thinks that there is a two-state solution on the table because there is not a viable negotiating partner. But I just want to make one other main point. You have gone on and on tonight, throwing accusations out against the Jewish state, against me. It's the sort of thing you do. I know you're a sort of online pugilist and think you can run for office, and good luck with that. But I'd just like to point out that you only really get animated if the Jews are involved. And I can tell that for the following reason. I mean, your surname's Uyghur, isn't it? 1 million Uyghur Muslims in China have been put in concentration camps in the last decade. And people of your ilk never really care about that, do you? Because it's not the Jews doing it, it's the Chinese Communist Party. At the moment, 1 million people who are in Pakistan at the moment, who are your fellow Muslims and who happen to be Afghan, and I don't think you care about them, do you? 1 million Afghans are currently being forcibly deported from Pakistan to Afghanistan. You don't care about that. You're not riled up about that. You're not riled up about what the Janjaweed are currently doing in Sudan, where thousands and thousands of people are being attacked by the Islamist militia there. You don't care about any of that. You get exercised and you rile up what little base you have of malcontents because you're riled up when the Jews do anything.
All right,
it's
Cenk.
perfectly obvious.
Okay.
I've noticed Murray doesn't resort to screaming the usual insults. Instead, just responds with an eloquent invective in a way only a posh Englishman can. Now the poor guy nearly gives himself an heart attack. He gets so angry. Murray just smirks and even wishes him Happy Christmas as his cheerful opponent screams monster, evil, and of course, racist at him.
The point of Israel is to be a safe haven for oppressed Jews throughout the world. It cannot be a safe haven as long as you're imprisoning 5 million Palestinians and saying, we are never, ever going to let you go. And if you ever dare oppose us, we will kill your women and children. It's disgusting.
They're not in prison.
It's not what Israel was meant to do.
I'd urge you again, Cenk, leave your bedroom sometime and come to this region and see it for yourself.
Hey, I thought I was supposed to get the last word. This idiot's talking about bedrooms.
The Palestinians
hey, you care about the babies. You care about the women. Douglas, why don't you admit you don't care about dead Palestinian babies, dead Palestinian women, because you don't mind it. Israel. You say right or wrong, no matter how many people they have murdered, no matter how many kids they have crushed to death, you don't care because you don't care about human beings. All you want is some sort of warmongering Israeli state, U.S. state, etc.
All right, listen. I've got to wrap it up. I've got to say, listen. I think we actually had a very
little man.
I found
You're
it
super evil. You don't mind the deaths of all those thousands of people.
Let's not descend.
Evil warmongering.
Jake, let's not descend into this. I actually think, with a few exceptions, we had a good debate there, right? I understand passions run high. I think it's a shame whenever I do these debates when it gets ad hominem. I think we can all agree on one thing. We all want to end up with peace here somehow. It's going to be horrendously difficult.
We do.
It's very complicated.
That's not true.
But I do think I don't actually about all the lives that are being lost.
Just a lazy smear.
And I think that we should start from an acceptance we all care, and then try and be more constructive. But listen, I thank you both for joining me. I wish you both a Merry Christmas. I'll see you both, no doubt, in the new year. And I thank you both. I thank you both for your regular contribution.